right, so now we're going to transition over to some of the fun um, behind the scenes from Beauty Junkies from last week. As we mentioned, we had a lot that was left on the cutting room floor. As you can hear, too, we had some technical difficulties with one individual, so we're hoping that this time around, Kayla sounds more loud. If it works. And then in addition, we have about 3 of the questions that from our speed round, which we should comment was the longest speed round we've ever done, which normally about 4 to 10 minutes. And this one took forever. But we have 3 of those that we're going to let you guys listen in on. So enjoy. Work Besties.
Hey, Jess, how are you?
I'm good. How you doing?
Good.
So let's see. After last week, I think we have about probably like 2 hours worth of unscripted, undocumented left from the Beauty Junkies and all of our discussions and sidebars.
Oh my God, it was so funny. You were nonstop talking, and I felt like I was part of your group, But
You definitely were. You jumped right into the mix. It was fantastic.
It was crazy. A lot of discussion. That's why we had to cut. Otherwise, we would have lost a lot of people.
That would have been the longest. We would have won for the longest podcast ever.
I know.
So I think instead of us adding all of that into there, I think what we might want to do this time around is relate it to some of the things that we would wanted to talk about. If you remember, all the way back when we kicked off this podcast, we were super excited to start integrating some of the cool articles and really highlight some of the actual benefits that are currently being documented out there for having work besties or friendships at work. And this could not be any more timely, but the Harvard Business Review published an article only a couple of weeks ago in mid-March where they talked about the need for intergenerational friendships at work. And ironically, as you guys kind of could tell with my Beauty Junkie, is that there were about 3 different age generations integrated into that, one of which probably being the oldest. I don't know who that one would be.
At this point in our career, we'll always be the oldest.
I guess at this point, unfortunately.
But we stay younger by being
still young at heart. They're still young at heart. And based off of the fact of this article, I think the fact that I have such great friends across the different generations is just as beneficial for me as for them.
Yes. No, totally. Because at the end of the day, when you're looking to be, for a work best friend, even though you're not looking, a lot of time it just you just click. You can't just consider people of your same age, right? Or black background, or even your department. It's always so important to really find someone, doesn't matter what age it is, but that has this same point of view or same, common interests.
Right. Well, I mean, in many cases, when you're working with these individuals, you don't even know their age because that's not really a part of your conversation or day to day.
But you can both see it.
I don't know. I now added 3 more steps to my skincare after Jackie's review of how many steps we should have. So hopefully I go backwards in age, and you can't tell.
I know. I need to wake up like 3 hours earlier now.
But yeah, I think it's not just having a common point of view, perspective, or hobby or element. It's really the fact that you're all living and breathing the same work things, right? So you do automatically in your work life have these commonalities. So that bonds people too. It's not about having to bond over like what's happening in your home life or other elements. That comes, you want to bring that to your work as well, but you don't have to bond over that. There's other things to bond over, and then you learn about those other things too, which is clearly what kind of came out from my Beauty Junkies is the love of beauty bonded us quickly, and then you could see some of the other elements come into play. So I did want to highlight, based on this article, some core things that we think from a broader organizational needs out there, as well as individuals could think about and incorporate into their day to day. In fact, in this article, again, it was in the Harvard Business Review, and it was called Why We Need Intergenerational Friendships at Work. They highlighted different ways that you can foster these friendships or think about ways to integrate them into your day to day. And you can do this whether you're the manager or a person in the organization themselves, but they're all things that kind of we highlighted in the Beauty Junkie podcast that just occurred last week. So I'm going to go through them. And then Claude, I think you had some ideas and perspectives that you wanted to layer into. So feel free to cut me off at any point.
Oh, I will.
Yes, I know you will. So the first one was dismantling the stereotype. This one kind of is pretty self-explanatory, but in essence, what it means is to think about everybody as the individual selves, as them as a whole, not related to what age they are, what life stage from a personal that they're at, or even career-wise stage they're at, but think about them as the individual and really give them the respect and pause to understand why and what they're doing and what they're saying. And this is a great way to really foster work bonds that will help with greater collaboration and productivity. And I think a great example of this came to light when Kayla, I believe, gave the example of how her and Nazat truly formed a great friendship just by the fact that they both were in the office together and sitting next to each other. And ironically, they were commenting how it was Jackie and I who were not going into the office as much, which kind of is a reverse from what you hear stereotyped.
Yes. Again, the stereotype that, Gen Z, they don't want to come to the office. Gen Z don't want. And we have to be careful with that because at the end of the day, it's the person themselves, right? You can, and from everywhere. So you're going to have some Gen X like you that want to stay, that would have liked staying at home because also you have a different life, like your life is a bit different than them, but it totally broke the stereotype that Gen Z wants to stay at home, Gen X wants to be to the office. Right. So again, it
definitely in our example.
Person. And I think that something that for me was very funny is a lot of times you hear, Gen X are complaining about millennial and Gen X are complaining about, or boomers about Gen Zs. But what something was interesting for me is that I actually laugh. There was this, it's from every generation. Even now the millennials start complaining about Gen Z. Doesn't need to. It's, again, depending on the person.
Totally. If I could get my own self off mute. Yes. I agree. It's definitely the person, not the generation, the age, exactly. Even how you personally like. There's definitely a difference between introverts, extroverts, and we can take all those different personality tests, and you can kind of see the different type of ways that people flourish and get their energy. And those are things that we all bring to the table when we work. It's not just our age. It's not just our background or how we were raised in a work way. It is who we are and really what our authentic self helps to really get
yourself,
going.
Right? You have you have a work bestie that even send you flowers, on Valentine's Day. But, that is, I don't even know if he's a millennial or even a Gen Z, but much younger. And again, it's clicking.
I thought you meant you. I was like, you didn't send me flowers. You're talking about work.
Just to let you know, I'm not a millennial or a Gen Z. That should have been the first clue.
So yes, that is true. I do have other people at work that I'm close to. One in particular, and he definitely is substantially younger, and we get along extremely well. But different perspectives, different personalities, different points of view. So the second one is help suspend judgment. What is that way? Number 2, help suspend judgment. So in this regard, they are meaning how can we be encouraging, curious, and really respectful to every individual. And we think about how everyone comes to work in their own authentic way. And by this, they mean, how do they communicate? How do they use technology? How are they leveraging their work and their work priorities? So an example that we did not have last week, but was part of the conversation that got cut, was how at our previous work company, where all of us from the Beauty Junkies had worked together, we were in an organization that fostered individuals to work there for life. In fact, there was many people there that this was the first job they've had out of college, and they had been there 20, 30, 40, 50 years. And in many examples, there were times where us Beauty Junkies would bond together because we would hear conversations or comments around, this has been done this way, and that's how we'll always do it. So instead of just automatically fighting back, we would always take that pause to understand, but why? What was the rationale? Was there something bigger and greater that caused us to still continue to do these things that way? And then respectfully understand if there was other unique ways to push boundaries, or really just understand that this is the only way. But it gave us that opportunity to be cognizant that there's other things at play and that we shouldn't jump to rash decisions or recommendations.
Yeah. However, I have also an example that actually I had not that long ago, maybe a few years ago, where another generation than me, of course, when I relate to that, it's always younger. I had the same, right? About this is the way I was taught. This is the way it has to be done. And that's where, again, what I learned is understanding and also how to communicate. I might be the way it was done, but let's look at other ways to do it.
There's always ways to find a solution that can evolve, right? And I think that's what you're
Exactly.
trying to
And
get at.
again, it doesn't always have about generation, but
Yeah.
how people look to it. And again, it's embracing and not right away saying, oh, of course, it's because it's a Gen X or a millennial or a
Right.
Gen Z, whoever. Who cares? It is actually, at the end, it's the person. It's
Yeah, how can we all learn and be as
together.
efficient and
Yeah.
productive and
And
continuously
have
working
fun.
smarter?
Exactly. And have fun.
And I'm like, work smarter.
Oh, Jesus. It's like have fun and like
Oh,
support each other because
oh
you
my
can
God.
still being supported,
Yes.
except that work smarter.
Just work
But you can,
smarter.
but you can also support. Doesn't matter how old you are. Like
Yeah.
I support younger generation, and younger generation support me. At the end of the day, it's the person.
I think this one should be, instead of it being labeled of help suspend judgment, it should be how can you always be curious, or how to always be curious. So number 3 is
Work
spotlight the
smarter.
reciprocal benefits. So this one I feel like was very well documented in last
Oh,
week's
oh
episode.
my goodness, yes.
I feel like Jackie did an amazing job at describing how, when it came to our relationship as our beauty quad, that we all leveraged each other at different times for different types of benefits. The best one, most being, Nazat and Kayla would come to Jackie and I for some more like work-life experience elements, work-life balance, a lot about how to manage up, manage down, manage around. And while Jackie and I would go to Nazat and Kayla for some of those types of like, how do you work with different personalities and elements of that nature, we also would go to them from time to time to understand how best to communicate. And in some cases, it literally meant, what are the cool words to use or the right words that will resonate with different generations so that we sound. The next one is all around how you really should be kind of mixing up different types of people, different personalities, different types of groups with each other to really learn from each other. And the beauty quad is a prime example of that because, as I commented about in last episode, we leverage each other at least weekly, where one of us will pose a question and every one of us will respond back. So you get 3 very different perspectives and points of view. In many cases, it is either similar but from a different perspective, but then in some cases they are drastically different. But regardless, the cool thing about it is the person who posed the question out there gets these different types of responses and can really understand and like ask the follow-up questions to really find the way to make their the way they solve the problem or the way they respond to the problem in their own authentic words, but leveraging different perspectives and understanding how others could come at it from that different vantage point. And I think all three of us have such different backgrounds that you'll never get the same answer, and it continues to, I think, push
I
all of
love that.
us.
Yeah, exactly. I just love that because that's when, you have that support and, your friends where you learn from each other. And that is so important that if you always are with the same type of people, you stay in your, I don't know, what is the word, rut? So what are we going to give the behind the scene to our listener? Because it's Beauty Junkie behind the scenes.
Oh, right. So, in addition to some of these examples from relating to this article, which again, we will link the article and also ask some questions of you all that if you guys have any ideas for things you would want to see in upcoming episodes. But we wanted to leave you at the very end with some behind the scenes of what all went on with the Beauty Junkies outside of kind of the more formal buttoned up questions. So we're about to provide you a little more flair on how many places and locations Claude jumped around to, and how much the Beauty
I was
Junkies
trying
were
to.
finding that entertaining in of itself. We also did.
I'm so happy I obliged.
I can attest right now she's actually at a table. She is not
Yeah, right now I
in her
didn't move.
jacuzzi or hanging off of a balcony. Um, and then in addition to that, we also were going to play some snippets of parts of our longest speed round we've
Speed
ever
round,
done. So for you all, we're saving you the
which
speed
is
round,
not speed round at this point.
which typically our speed rounds run anywhere from 4 to 10 minutes. This one lasted over an hour.
Oh. It was going. We learned a lot of things. We
Yeah.
learned, what Jackie liked as snacks.
Yeah, so we're about to provide the two, I think, most entertaining results from that. One of which or three. One of which is going to be Jackie giving a whole tutorial on a skincare routine, and we will provide that. I believe we provided it last week, but we'll provide it again this week so you guys can see the 12 to 15 steps you all should be doing to make
But I
yourself look
tell you,
amazing.
it works though.
Her skin is phenomenal.
Her skin is beautiful.
I do about 2/3 of the steps, and I feel like my skin has changed dramatically since knowing Jackie. So I highly recommend it. And then we're also going to learn about Nazat and her secret beauty blogging. And then the last one, as you just alluded to, is going to be about probably the most money and the longest walk I've ever seen someone do to get Swedish fish.
Candies.
I know we're not sponsored by them, but my goodness, after this, I feel like we should be.
We should be. Oh my goodness.
All right. So with that, we'll let you guys hear from that. And we will be back to kind of our regularly scheduled routine of interviews starting next week.
Next week.
Bye, y'all.
Bye. Oh, okay. You start recording.
Just keep going. We're not recording. It's fine.
Yeah, okay.
Tell us your story, Claude.
So I was in the jacuzzi first because my mother-in-law and my husband are home and they speak Greek and it's loud. So I'm like, okay, we're going to have Greek background behind. And then I think the internet wasn't that great in the bathtub. So I went to my room, but then I could hear them talk in Greek. So now I'm in the closet.
Can't wait to see where you end up next.
Yeah, I know, right? Be careful.
Out in the balcony, like hanging off the side.
I know. Freezing, having the same lips as Jess because it's cold.
They're purple. They're not blue.
Literally, like,
They match your headphones. Like
They do.
exactly.
Which, in fact, I know I did not plan that, but now I'm gonna say I did, guys.
Yeah, for us.
yeah.
All right, serious face. Should we actually start? We can cut
Yeah.
all that, but I might
That
put that
should
as
be
a
in it.
blooper,
That
Claude,
needs
because
to
that
be
is
in it.
hysterical. Claude and her 3
The
locations.
most was like, she's like, oh, I'm in the
Within
I was
15
started in
minutes.
the jacuzzi. What?
Where there's no Wi-Fi. Like, why would your jacuzzi have Wi-Fi? Are you often? What are you doing in your jacuzzi with Wi-Fi?
Lots of stuff.
French are crazy. Oh my god, I can't. Okay, scene. All right, guys, we're gonna start.
And she's like,
Okay. Who has the biggest stash of beauty products at home?
Nazad. Duh.
Oh my God.
Nazat.
Wait,
Nazat.
can we talk about this for a
Yeah.
second? I know we're like way over time, but like, Nazat, I just remember every time we'd have a team call, she'd be like sitting in front of all of this. It would like she literally is a beauty influencer. She had like Tupperware. She literally
She like
had
She
so
has
many
a
containers. Color coded. It was like all of this
color
makeup.
coded and
Yeah,
everything.
She really did, and I'm like,
I have
wow.
a system.
That girl has a lot of makeup. Like, I thought I had a lot of makeup. No, Nazat.
No, that's
I had
Next
to change
level.
my setup because people would see it in the back and they would ask me all these questions. I'm like, you know what? I gotta move my desk. Like, this is
When
like bringing up questions.
like
when
I gotta
Nazat
get work
gets
done.
back
I don't have
into the
time for this, people.
industry, She can like have her interviews, but like go back to the old setup because it makes you look more legit. You're like, I'm in it.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Instead of bookshelf, you know, like
It's just
CEOs
all
have like
beauty.
a bookshelf behind them. I'll
Yeah.
just
Just
like
like
lipstick.
a wall.
Tubs and tubs
A
of lipstick.
wall of lipstick.
Love it.
Wow.
That's the dream.
Cool.
For
Oh,
a speed
sorry.
round, this is the fastest speed.
Okay, that
All right. Who?
Claude, what did you do?
She's in
You're
the
now
water.
fuzzy. We don't
She's
see
in
any.
the water
Are
now.
you,
Because
are
I
you
have
swimming
my
in
paper.
those shirts?
Oh my
Oh.
God! I have like
She's
my
underwater. She's in her
I'm a
jacuzzi.
mess.
A little bit
She's in
too
a closet
limitation.
now.
I'm sitting on the floor. It's starting to hurt.
Oh, go get a chair.
Oh.
All right. So next one. Who uses the most skincare products?
Me.
Jackie.
And probably Jake.
Jess or Jackie?
It should be me because I'm old and needed.
I have like a 12 plus
I'm gonna
step
go with Jackie.
routine for morning and night.
Can we go through it?
I don't think we have enough time in the day.
Kayla, we're in this speed round.
Podcast. JJ shares.
We're in the
All right, I'm
speed
bringing out the
round.
wine if this is coming.
Sorry.
This is gonna end in like a tutorial. Like Jackie does her skincare. Then I'm like,
Let's put it
right
back
now
on.
it's makeup time.
Then Nazat brings out her tubs.
Jackie uses some crazy skincare products.
Yeah.
Very authentic. All right. Next one. Which one has the most? Oh, I'd say that one. Which one of you is always snacking?
JJ.
JJ. I feel like I'm answering first for all of these because now JJ got me in the competitive spirit.
When in doubt, just say JJ.
Wait, I literally, you guys,
Oh my God.
Charlie thought that we were videoing this in person, and he was like, you should bring them some of your Swedish candy.
He spent $60.
You know what's so
on
funny is like
candy.
I'm like thinking you and I are literally like 5 blocks away. I could have just come over to you. Or
I
vice
know, I
versa.
thought about that. I was like, I think we should have done that.
Next one.
Next time.
That would have
next
given
time.
us promo though.
And Nazat can come over too.
So Jackie,
Yes, of course.
And Kayla.
Caleb, we'll make it. We can make it a time frame you're actually here in the city. How about that?
so I had a question, Jackie, because you started at the beginning of the podcast to tell us a story about your snacks.
Oh, my latest. Okay. Well, this is like my latest obsession. So, everyone has a different algorithm on TikTok, and I feel like my TikTok is like beauty, but then also like random weird food things, and then like parenting hacks. And so I'm definitely on the Swedish candy TikTok side, where like people are just straight up eating Swedish gummies, and I'm like I'm like over here salivating. So 2 nights ago at 9:45 p.m. after my daughter's asleep, I'm like, I need to go to this candy store. Like I'm all out. Like I have to go. And I think I called them in advance because they got a reshipment in for like some of the good ones. And my ass walked 1 hour both ways. Well, no, collectively 1 hour. It's like 30 minutes there, 30 minutes back, just to get these dang candies. And it was so worth it. I also spent $60 on gummy candy. But it was like really worth it. If I was with you, Claude, I would share some.
Oh my God.
So you could experience it with me.
I think we have a new sponsor for the podcast.
Yeah. Please, Bon, please sponsor this podcast.
Please prevent Jackie from having to walk an hour at 10 at night to get these.
That's some self-control too, that like you still have.
Do you know how much $60 of candy was? It was like a heavy
That's got to
bag.
be a lot, yeah.
Also,
how much can you like? I feel like after a while, Swedish candy doesn't like get like you're like. Arr.
Yeah, my jaw definitely hurts, and then also my teeth kind of hurt from all the sugar, and I'm scared to go to the dentist. So anytime I eat like a piece or two, this will be like in the middle of the day. I'll be like, I just want a couple pieces, and then I'll have like 4. But then I obsessively brush my teeth because I don't want to get cavities. But I 100% will have to get like a root canal, cavities, something. It's like this is going to be an expensive addiction. The $60 is just like the start of it.
$60. That's wow. Yeah. All right. Well, keep us informed on how your teeth situation are going.
She's already predicting. I'm going to need a root canal.
Literally, I'm going to need a root canal.
I'll have dentures by the time I'm 50.
All right. So going to the next one, which to all the work besties out there, keep supporting each other.
That was the best one yet.
I think at the 100 episode we'll be able to
get it right.